Rain poured against the city windows as Emma Carter clutched her worn-out resume in trembling hands. Her reflection in the glass showed exhaustion and hope all at once. She was a single mother of 6-year-old twins, desperate for a fresh start after years of struggling to make ends meet. Today was her one chance, an interview at one of the most prestigious companies in the city. She didn't know that behind those glass doors awaited not just a job, but a man she never thought she'd see again, the man who once shattered her heart. Emma arrived early, her clothes neat though not new, her heart pounding in her chest. The receptionist smiled politely, offering her a seat in the waiting area. Emma's mind raced with thoughts of her children, Lily and Lucas, who were at daycare. She'd promised them that everything would be okay soon, that mommy would get a good job and things would change. For their sake, she needed this. For her heart's sake, she prayed she was ready for whatever life had planned. When her name was finally called, she stood, smoothing the front of her skirt and following the assistant down the long corridor. Every step echoed against the marble floors, a reminder of how far she'd come from the life she used to have. But when the door opened to the CEO's office, her breath caught in her throat. Sitting behind the sleek desk, flipping through a file, was a face she knew all too well, Daniel Reynolds. Her Daniel, or rather, the man who had been hers once upon a time, before life tore them apart. Daniel looked up, and for a brief moment, time stopped. His expression flickered from professionalism to shock, then softened into something unreadable. "Emma," he said quietly, disbelief lacing his tone. She forced a polite smile, pretending composure she didn't feel. "Mr. Reynolds," she replied formally, gripping the strap of her handbag tightly. Her heart raced, but she couldn't afford to show it. Not now. She needed this job, and no matter what history stood between them, she wasn't going to let her past ruin her future. The interview began stiffly. Daniel asked the usual questions, his voice calm but eyes filled with emotions he was trying to suppress. Emma answered each one with quiet confidence, her voice steady though her heart was pounding. She talked about her years working part-time, her dedication, her skills, everything she'd done to survive as a single mother. But Daniel's gaze kept drifting to the small pendant around her neck, the same one he'd given her years ago before they had gone their separate ways. After the formalities ended, silence lingered between them. Finally, Daniel spoke. "Emma, I didn't expect this." His voice was softer now. "Neither did I," she whispered, looking down. "But I need this job, Daniel. Whatever happened between us, it's in the past." Her voice trembled despite her effort to stay strong. He nodded, visibly conflicted. "I understand," he said, though his tone carried more than professionalism, it carried guilt, regret, and something that still felt like love. Over the next few days, Daniel couldn't get her out of his mind. He remembered the girl who used to laugh under the stars, who believed in him before he became the man he was. He'd made mistakes, choices driven by pride and fear. And now fate had brought her back when she needed help the most. He reviewed her application again and again, realizing she was the most qualified candidate by far. But this wasn't just about qualifications anymore, it was about redemption. Emma got the job. When she received the call, she cried quietly, clutching her twins to her chest. "Mommy got it," she whispered, and they squealed in delight, wrapping their little arms around her neck. It was the first time in years she allowed herself to believe that things were turning around. But working under Daniel wasn't easy. Every meeting, every glance, every accidental brush of hands reopened old wounds. Still, she remained professional, determined to prove herself. Weeks turned into months, and something began to shift. Daniel saw the strength she'd grown, the mother she'd become, and the woman he had once loved, now more resilient than ever. He began helping quietly, arranging flexible hours when her kids got sick, ensuring she was never overlooked for her hard work. Emma noticed but never said a word. She didn't want pity. What she didn't know was that Daniel had discovered the truth, that Lily and Lucas weren't just her children. They were his. The revelation came one late evening when he saw their photos on her desk. The same eyes, the same smile he saw in the mirror. He confronted her gently the next day, voice trembling. "Emma, why didn't you tell me?" She froze, tears filling her eyes. "Because you left," she said, her voice cracking. "You moved on, and I had to survive. I didn't want my children to feel unwanted." Her pain spilled out in words she'd held for years. Daniel's heart broke as he realized the depth of what he'd lost, not just her, but 6 precious years with his children. From that day forward, Daniel changed. He didn't demand forgiveness, he earned it. He became part of their lives slowly, helping, showing up, learning to be the father they never knew. And Emma, though hesitant, saw the man he was now, not the one who left, but the one who came back and stayed. One evening, after the twins' school recital, Daniel found her standing under the same stars they once wished upon. He stepped beside her quietly. "You once told me second chances don't exist," he said softly. She turned to him, eyes glistening. "Maybe I was wrong," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "Then let me prove it." And for the first time in years, Emma let herself believe that love, no matter how lost, could find its way back, stronger, wiser, and real.